but everyone just went around the table and introducing themselves for the camera.
Hello, Marcus Riggs, Senator for the College of Business.
Hello, Rebecca Amazi, Senator for the College of Education.
Hello, Asia Porter, I'm RHA Director of Programming.
Hello, Chelsea Dixon, RHA Public Relations Chair.
And I am Asha Johnson, National Communications Coordinator and Training for RHA.
Darius Cooper, Senator for College Arts and Sciences.
Ashley Epperson, Senator for College Arts and Sciences.
And my name is Christian Hill, Vice President of Student Services for the Student Government Association. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our old business. Oh, and for the record, we do have the Vice President of Academic Affairs, who kind of can't be seen right now, but she's here and present, and that is our Adriana, I always mess up on her last name. Meshoni, Adriana Meshoni. Thank you. So we're going to start with the University Crime Task Force. Myself and SGA President Marcus Kernizan sat on the University Crime Task Force for the City of Atlanta, and the structure of it was we had representation from every college or university in the Atlanta metropolitan area. You had the university police, you had a delegate from the university police, a student representative, and we had representatives from the Atlanta City Council. And the premise of the task force was supposed to combat crime issues on the campuses surrounding Atlanta. We met 4 times. I was present at all 4 of those meetings, and the recommendation, there was 11 recommendations, but the ones that were student-driven was the Student Coalition and the Campus Safety Week. Now, the Student Coalition will be an officially recognized organization, and when I say officially recognized, it's legislation was just recently drafted to recognize this Student Coalition, and it will have 1 representative from every SGA, from every college and university in the Atlanta metropolitan area, and it will have 2 APD representatives, and the mayor and the Atlanta City Council president. And that representative can be anyone that President Kernizan delegates, either himself or an SGA member, or anyone that he delegates, to my understanding. So look forward to that. And the Campus Safety Week. The SGA president for Georgia Tech, this was actually his idea, such that they were already creating a Campus Safety Week over at Georgia Tech. And every school and university will have autonomy over what they wanted to do for their Campus Safety Week, but one of the recommendations that we made was for all of the universities who did not currently have a safety week, we would encourage them to do so. And because we already have a safety week, I just wanted to propose it. I didn't know if as a committee we wanted to reach out to anyone and say, hey, can we become a part of your safety week, or if we wanted to kind of do our own. So that's one of the things that we'll talk about. So we're about to move past that. Before I move past that, do we have any questions regarding the University Crime Task Force? Great. The next thing, and thankfully we have representation from RHA to speak about the Resnet internet system for housing. Originally, I was present over the summer, and when it first rolled out, we received many issues. I received many issues directly, and I wanted to make sure that I reached out to RHA so that we can collaborate to be able to better serve the students. And some of the issues that I brought up was, from a student perspective, they was concerned about, initially, we couldn't plug routers up with the Resnet system. There was originally no Wi-Fi for the rooms. Visitors had to pay, as well as some of our cable channels didn't transfer over. I know VH1 was one of them, and I gotta get my Love and Hip Hop on. So I was complaining too. So thankfully, thank you guys so much for coming here, and if you could just tell us a little bit about, have we gotten any improvement? Did you guys also receive some of those concerns, that type of thing?
I'll speak on that. We did receive complaints initially. As for right now, we haven't really received as many complaints with the internet system. They have made some improvements as far as routers are concerned, and as far as things go with the cable. Channels were added. I don't know if you guys know, but we really had no jurisdiction over that. They pretty much let us know what was going on. As far as students are concerned and, we advocate for them, we really had no say. So, we can suggest, if you guys come up with suggestions, we can bring that to our board and try to implement a different process. But as far as that cable system and what they have going on, all we can try to do is work with them because, there's only so much we can do. So.
I also want you guys to know they switched to the new cable system because it saved the university a lot of money. So that was very important to them. We've been getting complaints about some of the stations being fuzzy, the sound not working, and just little things like that. Some people don't like the cable lineup, so that's just a little bit of the concerns we've gotten out of our suggestion box. But we're working on that. But that is something above and beyond, our heads because they are essentially saving a lot of money.
Did you have any other?
But I do know for internet-wise, they have bumped it up. So because in the beginning, I remember me and Lauren and I talked with you. When we spoke to you, I spoke to Mylan, who's head of housing, correct? So, but they did bump it up from the 25 that we had, 25 MB as something that ISCT said. So, but it is better, but it's faster now than it was before. We have more students on campus. In the summertime, wasn't that many, so they didn't get that many complaints that they should have gotten. So now it is. I can speak on the internet, and it is better.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, I had one more comment. As to them, they did add more. They made more people can get instead of having to pay. Like they upped the number of how many people can get connection to the internet, the Wi-Fi, or whatever it is. So they're working with that too, because we've gotten a lot of complaints for that. So it's slowly but surely improving.
Okay. Thank you. And let me just go on record. Originally, when I first got the complaint, I reached out to, I believe he is the director of IT for housing. I don't remember his name, but he was extremely helpful. So I just want to go on the record and saying that. And I agree. When we first got my Resnet, there was a bunch of complaints, but to date, I've heard little to none at all. And I too, as a student, have seen. For instance, we do have VH1 now. It's in the 80s somewhere, but we do have VH1 now, so the channels have gotten better. I am now able to plug my router up, and you live at Greek Housing as well. Are you able to plug your router up?
Yes, we use our
router.
Yeah.
So we are able to plug our routers up. The Wi-Fi has improved, the overall connection has improved, so that just goes to show that they did hear the students' concerns. So to administration, I definitely want to give a special recognition to our administration for hearing our concerns. And again, to my understanding, it was a money issue, and it did save us money by the transition to this this new cable provider. And I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I feel like whatever saves the money and still benefits the students is ultimately beneficial to us because now we have additional money to put into other student services. So again, I just want to recognize the administration for that. Before we move on, did anybody else have any questions, comments, concerns?
I do. So with these improvements, they just come from people complaining?
Yes.
Yeah.
RHA, that's what we're here for.
Right.
We advocate for housing.
Mm-hmm.
So when we get a large number of concerns that go on, it is our job to make those changes, to essentially see what's wrong, what are the students having problems with, and we're here to make those changes.
Is there anything that SGA can do to help you all, I guess, alleviate these problems quicker and easier? Like, is there more of a, like we do, we have this sheet that people can actually write a complaint against or a question about. Do y'all have sheets like that, or is it just like word of mouth?
Well, we do have a suggestion box, but if we could kind of, I don't know, start a partnership in terms of complaints, because we can only hear so many, and I'm sure they know this to come to SGA. They may not know, there's only about 8 of us on the executive board, so whereas they cannot reach the 8 of us or maybe not know who we are, they can't get in contact with you all. So if we could kind of just work on sharing complaints and concerns, that would definitely
Hard evidence gets us far.
Yeah.
And when we come to them, they want to know, well, how do you know this?
Who said
What?
this?
Exactly.
Right. You always want to like have a paper trail.
Yeah, we always have to have hard copies of complaints. So if you guys have any you want to share, just please let us know.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you brought that up. That's exactly why I invited RHA here. I really want to get in the habit of establishing a line of communication with all student bureaucracies that have some type of some organizations that are able to make an impact, such that if we mobilize our voice for the students, we're able to make a greater impact. So again, thank you guys for coming, and you're certainly welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting. But I want to respect your time, and if you have anything else to do, you're certainly welcome to exit. Next on the agenda is the plus-minus grading system. I want to save that to last because there's quite a bit of things that we need to discuss regarding that. So I want to hop straight into complaints regarding parking and shuttle bus services. Now, I have met with Dr. Covey about this just recently, who was equally as concerned as I was regarding the service of parking and shuttle buses. And I remember him asking me, just as a student, did he see any improvement this semester regarding parking and regarding the shuttle bus services? And I know that I remember explaining to him that all I knew of as a student was that we did get the additional 700 parking spaces, as President Kernizan talked about in our last meeting, as well as I heard something about there being some new colors regarding like the routes. Like I know it's like a blue route, a green route, or something like that for the shuttle bus services. But I wasn't able to speak intelligently about it, and I told him that I would caucus with President Kernizan to get some additional information. Hopefully you guys.
And that's what I was going to say. The best thing to do would just be talk to somebody who commutes. Me, I commute. My commute went from like 40 minutes to like 20 minutes within a week, which is good now because I moved back to Atlanta. But one day I got out of class at 7 p.m. at Adderhold, and I waited, I think, 15 minutes for a bus. So when you're, and that's when I was parking at Turnerville, this is the first week of school. So the bus is supposed to come to Adderhold as soon as 5 o'clock hits. This is as of last year. So 5 o'clock hits, the bus no longer goes, I mean, it goes to GCB and it stops at Sparks Hall, but instead at 5 o'clock it turns and goes to Adderhold to pick up students and take them to Turnerville. So with this new route, they made a route that stops in front of Arts and Humanity, and it goes to Adderhold all day long. I didn't see a bus at all, and to this day, I go to class Tuesdays nights. I still have yet to see a bus. So I'm just worried about where's the bus at, you know?
Absolutely.
So the best thing to do would be like you said, a student caucus, talk to students who do, because like y'all live on campus, y'all are not gonna know about these buses, you know. But me, you know, they are affecting our students. Also, too, one day I got an MDEC pass, and I passed by Turner Field. I think I saw, I would say, like over 300 students out in front of Turner Field, and there's no bus. And there's students walking to class from Turner Field, like upset. Parking is just no parking as far as 10 o'clock in the morning on Tuesdays. There's a lot of students on campus. And then I see like 2 shuttle buses coming to pick up students. That's not enough, you know? And me, if I wasn't a student leader and I didn't get an automatic MDEC card, MDEC pass, whatever, and I, you know, then I wouldn't, and I have to pay for it, of course. I just get a, I paid my $215. But I don't have to be in the lottery, I guess you could say, as student leader. But if I would be upset.
Absolutely.
Right, because I have been late. Like people, I bet you got there at 9 o'clock for the 9:30 class. 30 minutes early, that's wonderful time, and they weren't able to.
They were probably still late.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So
you
right.
You also feel the same.
So there's still issues. So I don't know if it's because it's a shortage of buses because they're going to Piedmont North or whatever, but it just needs to be changed. Something needs to happen.
Absolutely. And
I want to say, how many buses do we have running to all these places too? I never ridden the bus, the shuttles or anything. But I just want to know, out of my own curiosity, how many buses are running?
I would like to too.
I don't know.
How many shuttle buses do we have in total?
Yeah, because
that's a good question now. Okay.
Good. So, did you guys have any comments about that before I make my final comment?
I mean, I don't want to speak too much on it because we're not that much knowledgeable. And it's also when it comes to these type of things, it's like even if you come with suggestions, because we aren't knowledgeable, like they'll be quick to shoot stuff down. Like, we'll suggest, how about you just have a route for this and this, and they're like, oh, do you know how much gas?
It's definitely take some partnership with auxiliary and support services to see so we can help alleviate
just
this
a lot of
issue.
information.
And we're gonna
need to get.
because they worked hard to get the shuttles going. Because I know someone who works at kindergarten was telling me that they really worked hard, but it's not working. So let's work harder with them to help solve these issues.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you brought that up, and that's exactly why I wanted to save the plus-minus grading system for last, because speaking of like research, like you need to like have done your due diligence, so that's why we're going to wait to do that last. But again, I don't commute, so I'm not able to speak as intelligently about these issues as I would like to. So what I would like to have is a senator that's over gathering this information, going to auxiliary services, seeing what they have, seeing what's executable. I know that I received a concern today from a student saying that there's no stop for the Andrew Young School of Policy. So I know that that student wanted me to look more into that. So again, I'll give that to the senator, and it looks like it's going to be Rebecca.
Oh, hell.
You mean the cause by 5 points, right?
Yes.
There needs to be someone's complaining that there needs to be a stop there.
Yeah, that is not a shuttle stop there, but I'm not certain.
Well, that's not really.
I mean, that's
practical.
like high traffic on
That's
the
not practical.
Yeah.
To have that big shuttle bus trying to.
And honestly, the Avocado bus is supposed to pass by that school anyways. But like I said, it's what's the term? What week are we in? Like the 4th week of term?
Yeah.
I have not seen it with the Idaho. Never. It's interesting. And it's 7 o'clock. Like
Okay.
There should be one anyways. You know.
Well, yeah, that's why we're here. We're gonna get on top of it. All right. So
I think just one more thing. A lot of people, I don't think they realize that with these changes, it costs money. Like, but they'll say these things like, "Oh, we want more buses, we want more routes," but if that happens, there has to be a spike somewhere.
Well, I feel like we saved a lot of money with my Resnet, so
That's what I was gonna say.
you know,
Where's
whatever
that
money. Right, exactly. Where's that money? And I know this is the 100th year and stuff like that, and they're getting ready for stuff like that. But at the same time, you know, our tuition has been going down.
And that's why
so.
this year, one of the focuses of this committee is I've seen enough of students being underrepresented in certain instances, and again, a part of it is because of what you said. Sometimes we're just not prepared to speak at a level that has that substance that we need to create change, and that's why we're going to be extremely thorough with these things. That's why we need more time to investigate this and then come up with something that's plausible.
And this is kind of running off topic, but you know how have y'all ever been to auxiliary services in the beginning, first couple of weeks, how crowded it is?
Yes.
Like, could we possibly, like, in the future plan, you know how they have the mega one-stop shop? Auxiliary services has something similar to that, because it's like barely hundreds of people out there going all the way down to career services, like in a line.
I don't know about this year, but last year they were down there.
They were?
They were? Yeah, they were. They picked up your intake passes there.
Exactly. So I don't know why this year they weren't down there. That's something to look into.
Let's because we have to move on because we have something to do with GSTV after this. But Marcus, look into that, or get with Rebecca and look into that, see what we can do. All right, the next thing that I want to talk about is the concerns regarding the plus-minus system. Now, this is a unique concern such that there is no right or wrong answer. There's several factors involved. Not everyone is for it. Not everyone is against it. Some people would prefer. Some people have their preferences. They would prefer a 100-point grading system, etc. As well as this isn't necessarily an issue that is under the realm or jurisdiction of the Office of Student Services. However, we've decided to collaborate with Academic Affairs to, again, mobilize our voices to seek some resolve regarding this matter. So myself and VP Adriana, who's present, if you want to come in and have a seat, yeah, you can. You're not going to just like we've had several conversations about it. We have researched minutes, conversations beginning in 1998 all the way to the present. And let me be clear in saying this before I make my next statement. Whatever we decide to push to the academic standards, Admissions and Standards Committee will be representative of the majority of what the students want. Make no mistake. What I'm about to say is a recommendation based on what I have researched thus far. And I've talked about this with VP Adriana, and we seem to be on the same page as far as we both believe that there needs to be something universal. Am I correct in saying that? Consistent.
Yes,
Consistent. She says consistent, I said universal. We're going to talk about that. So here's what I've noticed. First of all, you should know that the plus-minus system, to my understanding, was created, the recommendation for it to the Admissions and Standards Committee was made in 1998, and we have record of that, to implement a plus-minus system with the rationale that it would be beneficial to the students and make us more marketable as we transition into the real world, as many of our faculty counterparts would call it. And originally, when I first took on this task, it didn't seem to be as advantageous and beneficial as they may have thought it was, such that I've noticed from reading the minutes, or for instance, in 2006, when it first went to the Board of Regents, what the Board of Regents, and I have a copy of it here, that I think it'd just be unnecessary to show you here, but I have it, and it's you can research it. It's at usg.edu. The Board of Regents in 2006 made a suggestion for how what the plus-minus grade should look like. However, back then, the department still had autonomy over how they wanted to structure the plus-minus system, which makes sense. I mean, intellectuals, educators, they certainly want to exercise their academic freedom, and as students, I don't think we're against that. However, what seemed to be disadvantageous was, for instance, in some classes, and for instance, in one of my classes, the professor has elected to use a B minus to equate anything from an 80 to an 83. Now, what that means from a numerical value standpoint is that if you, for instance, were to get an 83 in this class, and once the professor goes and lines that up with what plus-minus grade he's assigned, which in this case would be a B minus, when you go to the numerical value per his syllabus, that would the numerical value would be less than a 3.0. Now, when you look at what the Board of Regents had recommended and what seemed to look beneficial was, when you look at these, a B minus per their recommendation was supposed to be anything below. I mean, well, not anything below, but it was supposed to be like a C plus. So when you look at it from that aspect of it, which looks better on a transcript, a B minus or a C plus? And in my opinion, in my interpretation of what I read from the minutes was, it looked like it did look beneficial. If you're going to say a B minus is essentially a C plus, that does make students look more marketable. However, if you don't have a 3.0 at the base of any B, then I don't see that, in my opinion, I don't foresee that as being advantageous. So that's just one example of one of the things that I think that we need to investigate. So again, let me be clear. I know I said a lot. Let me be clear in saying what I'm saying. I support the plus-minus system from an individual student standpoint. I support it. However, much like VP Adriana, I think that it needs to be consistent. And let me be even more clear in saying that in addition to it being consistent, I think that it needs to be uniform amongst the department. So I'm saying that I don't think any college or department should be able to develop their own. I think that we should advocate for one umbrella plus-minus system that every school and every department has to be in compliance with. That's just my opinion. But again, we're going to poll the students to see what you think seem to be better, and we're going to go with that recommendation, but that's just mine, and I want to give VP Adriana an opportunity to speak from her standpoint as well.
I think you pretty much summed it up, VP Hill. Pretty much we had a meeting yesterday and we discussed this, and pretty much everything he said was brought up in the meeting, and that's how we feel. We feel that it should be consistent throughout the university, just because, you know, pluses, minuses, and, you know, having professors have the authority to decide whether or not to use it, it leads to a lot of inconsistency, and we think that's unfair to the students as far as reflecting in their grades, because at the end of the day, you know, what matters is the letter that's on that transcript, and we want to get that consistent for our students, and we want to, you know, not give anybody a grade that they don't deserve, but we want to help the students and, you know, not harm those who are working hard. So
Thank you. And another note that I want to suggest before I open it up to the senators is, you'll notice in investigating this, and let me just say, in investigating this, it is not just us within the university system of Georgia that has a plus-minus system. UGA also has one, as well as Georgia Tech, to my understanding. I've looked at UGA's plus-minus system. I've looked at what they've allowed, what they do not allow, what they think is beneficial, what's not beneficial. For instance, they aren't allowed, to my understanding, per what I've read, they aren't allowed to have an A+ in their grading system. However, we have elected to have one. So, of course, I would like, with UGA being an elite institution, much like ours, I would like to know why they seem to think that a 4.3 scale is not as advantageous as a 4.0 scale, if I'm understanding what they're saying correctly. And my last thing is, notice that in investigating this, you'll see that in the frequently asked questions for the grading system on UGA's website, a question is, so what about classes that require a C in order to pass, or a C as a requisite to take the class? And it says that a C- will not satisfy that requirement. Now, when you look, again, when you look at what the Board of Regents had recommended, a C- would be a D+. So that's why numerical value, it would be less than a 2.0. That's why I wouldn't satisfy the C or C+ requirement. So again, just as you are evaluating this, be sure to look at the numerical value that equates with the plus-minus system. Senators?
I'm sorry, if I may interject quickly. There was some talk about possibly suggesting the university move to a 100-point system, and I just want to clarify that upon speaking to Dr. Rainbolt, the chair of the Admission and Standards Committee. We kind of discussed that, and we kind of came to the conclusion that that would not be a possibility at this point in time, only because we have to remain consistent with that within the university system, because a 100-point system tends to be more with elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, and with students transferring in credits and things of that nature, we want to remain consistent. And also, again, like Christian said, remain looking elite as we are among the other major universities throughout Georgia. So I just want to clarify that that 100-point suggestion has now been, moved to just taking a stance of being consistent if that's what the students want. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you. Marcus?
You did say a lot. So it's just so all of that's pretty much new to me. So because I came from a school that didn't have the plus and minus system, so when I got here, I'm like, what is this? Like when B+ isn't weighed as the same as a B or a B. I mean, a B- is the way the same as a B+ or a regular B. Because I feel like if I'm taking 5 classes, I think it's 5 B-, in my semester, I don't have a 3.0. I have like a below 3.0, like a 2 point something.
Absolutely.
In my head, I would think I did B word, so I should have above 3.0 since that's what B equals to. Absolutely. In GPA form. So I would have to do more research on that on my own to just get more educated about it. So
also for myself, I would have to do more research on it too. But my question is then how comes when they calculate hope, it's just A, B, C, or D?
Right.
I don't understand that. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And then, go ahead.
Again, this is to my understanding, and from my research, it is my understanding that GSU has a hope GPA that does not include the plus-minus system. However, what I would like to see for myself is I would like to see just how they calculate that numerical value, because my thing is, for instance, if one semester, if you have an A, if you have 2 A's, a B-, and a B, and your GPA, well, let's make it easier than that. If you have,
I can even tell, I have a good example of my freshman year, my first semester, I got 1 A. I think I had 5 classes. I got 1 A and 4 A-. My GPA was a 3.8.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I should have a 4.0.
Absolutely.
But it was a 3.8, so that's setting me up for failure. You see what I'm saying?
Because we know what's the GPA requisite for hope is a 3.0 or 3.0. So again, if what they're looking for is a 3.0, I would like to be able to see and make sure that they're not, that when they say they're taking the pluses and minuses off, that they're going back and reevaluating the whole thing. Because in this case, let's just say if this was 3 B's and 1 B-, and the GPA came out to a 2.28, I want to make sure that that's not how this GPA, the Hope GPA is calculated, because that would be disadvantageous. So, great question.
And if I may interject and address that as well, it has been proven that a minus can really hurt a student's GPA as much as 0.3, because I've experienced that myself. That one minus can really, I mean, we've all been victors and victims of the plus-minus system. But also, if I can also give you the perspective of speaking to a professor from their point of view, because, you know, we want to acknowledge everybody here. The reason that the plus-minus system was really enacted was, in addition to everything else that we just discussed, it was really enacted because it encouraged students to learn the material. And basically, based on my conversation with Dr. Rainball again, that's what he had discussed with me, because when he got here, there was no plus-minus system, and students would work very hard in the beginning of the semester, and then they would slack off towards the end, which tends to be the most important material to wrap up the whole semester. So basically, just from a professor's point of view, that's why they're enacting this system. And that's why, again, we're not trying to take it away from them, but we are trying to get it more standard. And also, it's just encouraging, I guess, a competitiveness, you know, not to allow students to feel that they can be lazy in the classroom. Not saying that anybody's lazy, but, you know, if you know that you're on the borderline of that minus, you're going to work extra hard. You're going to go to the extra classes. You're going to, you know, you're not going to slack off with attendance. You're going to do the reading. So basically, the plus-minus system is advantageous in that way, where it is encouraging or giving us an incentive to work harder. So.
Good. Thank you. Did you have something to say with that?
No, not really. I feel like also that's like kind of a personal choice within the student as well, if you want to, you know, go the extra mile. Because some people might just be satisfied with that 80 instead of a 89 or 86 or something. But I mean, that's just
like
student's personal.
Like another thing, none of you all like were in the Senate last year, but at our last SGA meeting, someone brought up they're like freshman attendance in class has been dropping, and they were like, SGA, do you guys want to enact or mandate attendance policy? We were like, no, because that's their job. That's students' jobs to go to class.
And we actually have an attendance policy, and to address that, if I didn't have an opportunity to in the Senate meeting, make no mistake, this is a representative democracy, and our rationale isn't to go to meetings and represent the voice of the e-board of SGA or to represent the voice of us individually. It is to represent the voice of the constituent body that we have been so carefully elected to represent. And we want to make that very clear. So in situations like that, that's exactly what I would have said. It's whatever the students recommend. But we do have an attendance policy. And I would encourage those individuals to refer to the Student Code of Conduct to find that information. But I'm glad that we were, so following this, both myself and VP Adriana, we feel that we want to poll the students. And I know my recommendation was that we survey the students online. However, we have heard some thoughts about online may not be the most effective method. So I think that we should use several different ways. I think we can survey online. We can ask our professors in the classes that we have afterwards, do you mind if I take a minute to hand students some surveys and get it back to us? Whatever way that works, but I think we're both on board when we say that we want to at least poll the students, and we want to have anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 responses so that we'll be able to have a good just of what the students are saying. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, I agree, and we're definitely going to get some footwork going on that within the next week, too, at the most.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
So hold us to that. By the next committee meeting, we should have some type of update saying that we have at least began polling the students, and we should be able to talk about what we've done. Did you have something to say, Marcus?
I was going to say like an effective way to get the students to, if you're like going to take it to the classroom, offer it as an extra credit opportunity. That would be a way. I mean, I would do it, just take like a small survey.
Okay.
Credit, but I mean, that's just a.
Well, we're going to talk about who's over these things, and they can certainly get creative with it. All right, so I just want to move on ahead to new business. If you notice, the first.
Excuse myself.
Thank you again, VP Adriana. The first thing is new senator expectations. In addition to one of the things that President Kernizan talked about when we were campaigning for these positions is that really empowering the senators to be involved in these processes. So I know one of the things that I want to do on our committee is I want to start having senators over certain initiatives. Like, for instance, we've already talked about investigating the shuttle bus and parking issues. We were going to have Senator Rebecca investigate those things, and then in the meetings to come, we'll open with senators' reports, and they'll be able to update us on where we are. So with the things that we've discussed thus far, well, we'll need that. My Resnet, we don't have to talk about that anymore. So Rebecca, are you fine with investigating the shuttle bus services and all that good stuff? And since you needed to learn more about the Plusminus System, did you want to be over that?
I will.
Good.
Yeah, I have a question. I wanted to say something about the parking, whatever, but you might want to say that at the end.
Yeah, absolutely not. Yeah. So we have Marcus over the Plusminus System. We have Rebecca over the investigating the parking and shuttle bus services issue. Campus Safety Week. Now, again, just as I stated earlier, I found that we do have one, and I found that it's really successful, apparently. The university police apparently have like these innovative, weird goggles, and you can act like you're drunk, and that type of stuff. See? And so can you, is it?
Yeah. Well, one of the things is they require it for like a 5-star, you know,
Yeah.
They require for like a 5-star thing. But I think it could be, the really thing that only really was, is from what I remember, is the wearing the goggles and trying to drive this little thing.
Yeah.
I think there could probably be a lot more than just that, because there was one thing and a whole lot of people. So I think there could be more to it than just that.
Okay.
And if it's campus safety, why can't we also talk about the way, like, not walking out too late on campus?
Right.
Think about on campus.
And all the campus letters we've already had so far.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So,
Also, too, I have noticed not a lot of campus alerts lately. Like, not even
Yeah,
lately.
me
That's
too,
good.
me
Since
too.
last year, we
It
would
was
get
gone.
at least 2
A week.
a day,
Low
2 a
key.
week, something like that.
It has gotten better.
Right, but this year I've
We only had, like,
received
one, right?
Yeah, we only had one. So
well,
So-
part of it is because we've only been in school for a month, right?
Yeah.
So, but let me just say, as being a part of this, and I said that because I don't want to seem biased in what I'm about to say. So I have had the pleasure of working with our chief of police here, which is Connie Sampson. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. And when I tell you, our and I went on record and saying this in front of the mayor and the Atlanta City Council, Georgia State, we really have a very functional, hardworking, dedicated university police. I mean, our statistics in comparison to some of the other universities were significantly lower. And in regards to our focus on prevention, we do an awesome job, and apparently the students can see it. Just like you said, we haven't been receiving some of those campus alerts, so we know that our campus safety is obviously working. Whomever that facilitates it is obviously doing a good job, but we just want to investigate moving forward however we can help. So, Ashley, since you've done it before, can you investigate to find out who's over it? When does it happen? Do we have any recommendations? Do we need to get a part of it? And let us know next meeting. The last thing that I neglected to put on here, but I certainly wanted to, is I wanted to entertain the thought, and I've had this conversation with President Marcus and Executive Vice President Briggs. I want to go out with a bang this year at the end of the semester, and I think one of the things that we tend not to do is recognize the people who go above and beyond, faculty that go above and beyond in their positions and never receive the recognition for it. I'm talking about the librarian who consistently makes sure that books are aligned where it needs to be to make it easier for students, the student assistant who comes and cleans the tables behind us and cuss us out in the emails. I'm talking about those people.
the person at the one-stop shop who goes.
Oh my God, the person at the one-stop shop, absolutely. So what I would like to do, absolutely, still show up smiling. So what I would like to do is to have a end of the year banquet, awards banquet, where we celebrate not only. I'm torn between, because I really want to do something to recognize those freshmen that come here and hit the ground running. But I didn't know if we already do that in the Royal Flame. Like, I didn't know how you guys would feel about it. So I definitely know I want to recognize faculty, but I wanted to entertain the thought of freshmen students as well.
As far as the students, it's either more so recognized through their respective organizations.
Okay.
Or if they're just that prominent in their organization that university recognizes them.
Yeah,
Also,
they'll get recognized.
Also, too, leadership development does the student leadership series, and if you attend, I believe it's I know if you attend 5 programs, you get recognized by like the royal folks.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Well,
yeah,
that
so
sounds good.
get
Well,
recognized.
at the very least, I everything that we do, I want students to be involved in it. So what I would like to do is maybe we can like put out some surveys or something where we nominate, where we get students to nominate those people in the one-stop shop, those people in the university library who works really hard, and you know, we can post it and create a survey and let people vote on it, and then present the awards that way.
Also, too, at this university, and I just was surprised about this, you can win anything as long as somebody's willing to nominate you.
Mm-hmm.
So how about as SGA, we, from our respective colleges, we pick someone who we know that's who's faculty, who's doing an excellent job, and we, when it comes time to nominate for Torch of Peace Award, for the Sparks Award is the most prominent award that you can get on this campus. When it comes time for recommendations for those, as senators, we choose these faculty and we nominate them for it.
Absolutely.
And all you need is somebody who can type and write well, because that's all they're looking for. And
I agree.
And recommendations. So.
I agree. So I think that we should get on top of this. So Darius, can you be over this awards banquet idea? And we will work together accordingly. So takeaway points, just to restate again, this meeting is an off meeting due to the fact that we couldn't have our meeting last week. So the regular meetings will be our normal schedule. You know, we meet before the executive board meeting, so you know that we have another meeting next Thursday. So please be prepared to present your reports and be able to update the students. I'm going to make it my business to invite GSTV and The Signal to our events. Those that they can make it to, we would certainly appreciate it. Those that they can't, will understand. But I want to make it clear that I just want the students to be aware of every move that we make, so that you'll know that we are really here for you. And so right now we have over the Plusminus, investigating the Plusminus system, we have Marcus. The Campus Safety Week, we have Ashley investigating the park and the shuttle bus services. We have Rebecca and the idea of the awards banquet. We have Darius Cooper, who's going to get back to us next week and let us know his recommendations on that. And before we adjourn, is there anything else that you guys want to say?
I just have 2, I guess, comments or concerns. I guess with auxiliary services and parking, whatever at the lofts, I know that mirrors in the lofts, you know, the big circle mirrors around the corners of each turn, that'll be beneficial for us. But I know that like people who do not care about how fast they're going through there, and then we're really almost like hit each other when we turn the corner.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you parking there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think that would be a little bit more helpful. So like when you turn the corner, you can actually see the cars coming instead of being blindsided by them.
Absolutely.
And also like I guess this could go along with campus safety. Have like cameras in the park garages. I don't know how many we have or where they are. I don't know if there are any in the lofts at all, because that's where I park.
Okay.
For the year. So I mean, I think that would just be beneficial for us.
Do other parking decks have cameras in them?
See, I don't know.
Okay. I don't know either.
I'll ask.
Yeah, again, that's something that Rebecca can be responsible for investigating, and please include RHA in this, especially in regards to housing, as they should be a part of this conversation as well. Anything else? Do we have any? I try to make it my business to recognize any like good news since the last time we met. So, anybody got any positive things that's happened really quickly? We adjourn.
I moved.
You moved?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna stick it out for a semester in my parents' house. I was like, yeah.
Do my breast thing. Don't you know how you can taste when your breast thing?
Not right now.
Oh, like you gotta like tell me, because I don't want to be in folk face.
What you were saying was important.
Apparently.
It didn't matter.
Oh, who's excited for the mandatory Saturday football game?
I'm so excited for the game.
Are you gonna be with the students, or are you gonna be?
That's a great question.
I mean, since you're for student services and
Right.
Absolutely.
It's a mandatory event.
That's a great question. We'll see. We'll see.
I have one. I might be going out the country for Thanksgiving.
Yay.
My first time
Oh,
going out the country, so
where?
Honduras.
Oh, that'd be so fun.
We need to come up with a word for like when people have good news. Is it going to be like yay or like a woohoo? I like woohoo.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Woohoo. Let's try it. 1, 2, 3.
Woohoo.
Yeah.
That's kind of.
Yeah, I like that. So we're going to go with that. What about you, Darius? You got any good news?
I mean, personally, I can't say. I mean, I'm actually about to go back and volunteer with the College Permanente Walk.
Oh.
Yeah, I was helping setting up before I came in here, but yeah, so we're gonna help and give out water to all the runners and walkers.
Oh yeah, I saw that outside.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's great. That's awesome. 1, 2, 3.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
That's like real talk.
My story got into pledge class last week.
Yay.
Yeah, and
How many?
23.
Squad.
Yeah.
Is that the largest of the flesh class?
No, it's not.
Oh.
There's some people got 26, I think.
Yeah, that was like 25, I think.
Yeah.
That's what you like a lot. Well, yeah. I guess you think it's a lot.
Yeah, they do it by like how big your chapter already is and how, I don't know, some numbers game. I don't even know how it works.
Mhm.
No.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Woohoo! All right, we're gonna have to find something else. That's
Yeah,
something
Yeah,
else.
that is a little like, yeah, that's a little lame. So yeah,
That's
somebody
your
come up
job
with
too.
something
Put
else.
that on
I'm
paper.
alright.
You gotta think of
We
the
need to say like that's real talk.
Okay.
That real talk.
Real talk.
That real. What you gotta say like
Every
real
time
country
I say,
like?
no,
that
I
real
want to say
talk.
real talk.
Real
I
talk.
can say real talk.
Real talk.
Y'all can say how you want to say it, but I say real talk.
I
Real
think
talk.
that I should say real talk as well.
But I don't think, even no matter how hard you try, you really can't say the
That real talk.